Welcome to Obsessed with Success, starring Russel Morgan.
Welcome back to Obsessed with Success with Russel Morgan. Russell is the founder and CEO of Morgan Legal Group, one of New York's premier estate planning firms. He's also a legal entrepreneur, a strategist, and a mentor who helps attorneys scale with clarity and confidence. I'm Kevin Rosenquist, and today's episode is all about pricing, specifically the dangerous habit too many lawyers fall into, discounting. Whether you're undercharging out of fear, trying to be competitive, or just giving breaks to win the client, it costs you confidence, sustainability, and long-term success. So let's start talking about it. Russell, welcome back.
Kevin, great to see you as always.
Is this a common problem? Do a lot of lawyers, especially earlier in their careers, way undercharge?
Definitely early in your careers. There's what the market can bear, like in any business, and there's professional experience. And usually, at least in our field, your pricing, your hourlies, everything is matched to your experience, your expertise, your knowledge. So yes, a lot of, especially young lawyers, do, let's just say, work cheaper than what the market will usually bear. But the other side is it's competition. So even the older folks and the guys who are a bit more seasoned and the gals that are a bit more seasoned, in some cases are doing it just to undercut competition. Mm-hmm. And frankly, it's a know your worth. So if you're a freshman just getting into the industry, yes, absolutely. Your work, your cost has to be commensurate with experience. But if you're on the other side of the coin, and we're now at a place where you're a bit more seasoned, let's just say a decade out, hypothetically, then it's more about which one do I need to cater to more? Which one is more important for me? Is it know my worth and understand that you're paying for my knowledge, my experience, and my professionalism? Or am I doing this to undercut the market and be cheaper because everybody's more expensive? And that's a decision you have to make for yourself. Know your worth speaks volumes. And a firm that is looking to grow or even change your caliber of client, if you're looking to, let's say, level up to some pool of clientele that's a bit more high net worth, understanding the value of the service that you provide and the product that you provide is key to knowing that not every client is your client.
Yep.
If you're going to be that firm where you're just undercutting competition for the sake of volume, that's totally fine. But that's where you're going to stay. You're going to be that firm that's just doing this to be cheaper. And you'll very seldom get to a place where people will value your work because they're coming to you because they're price shopping, not because they're looking for quality, but because they're looking for product and the cheapest product on the market or the cheapest service on the market that they can get.
I could not agree with you more. I feel like even for myself, like I used to, especially when I first started my business, I was like, working for really cheap because you had to. But when you get to that point where you're like, I gotta stop taking these lowball offers. I gotta get, like you said, know your worth. When you really embrace that concept of knowing your worth, it like kind of, you get a little taller. Like you get, like you feel good about yourself. It's really confidence.
You do. And look, there's nothing wrong with understanding they're just not your client. That's right. Okay.
Yeah, that's all right.
We'll be here tomorrow. We'll be here the day after. And somebody else will be your client that will understand your worth. Mm-hmm. And if that's important to you, understand that not everybody will be your client, and that's okay.
Is there pressure on attorneys to keep their fees low within the profession? Is that something that attorneys feel?
I would definitely see the understanding that there is pressure. There's so much competition. Look, we're in New York City. Mm-hmm. Let's just forget about New York State. 1/3 of all lawyers, there's approximately 1.6 million lawyers in the United States. 1/3 of all lawyers exist in the state of New York, with the
Holy,
majority of our concentration being in New York City. So understand that we have 50 states, we have 300 million people. And out of the 1.6 million lawyers in our country, approximately 1/3 of them are all in New York City. So,
that's
yes, there's
wild.
pressure to undercut the competition. Yes, there's pressure to do work cheaper. But at a certain point, you have to look at yourself and say, what's more important to me? Am I going to keep tolerating the quality that I'm dealing with now? Or am I going to understand that I'll take on less? Maybe we'll have some time to adjust. But if people will start to understand I'm not that person anymore, or if I'm a solo practitioner, or that's not our practice, we have since changed. We're not accepting certain clients because not because it's necessarily price shopping, but we have now become more experienced. We have gone through cases and cases, and we can justify our prices. Because remember, we're governed by ethics above and beyond. So there's what the market will bear, there's the business side of this, but then most important, there's ethical guidelines that we must follow. So it's a constant balancing act of what ethically am I required to do and what do I need to do as a business person. And lawyers particularly struggle with that. And ethics comes first above and beyond everything else. That's a must. But it on the other side, you have to pick and choose and understand when you're boarding a client, is this someone that's going to be able to sustain your expense? Is this someone that's going to be able to remain a client long term? Have you explained to them clearly and thoroughly what to expect, what could potentially they should anticipate in costs and expenses, and are they capable of supporting that? And when you get to a certain point, of course, with consent of your clients, you really have to do your homework. You have to do your due diligence. It's not just, where we're here, we spoke, and let's go. It's also you understand that this is a service that you're paying for, especially when some of our lawyers are practicing, let's say, hourly based fees rather than something fixed fee based, where there's no finite time period. Can your client support the expense if you guys end up in court for the next 3 years or 5 years? Because the last thing you want to end up in is in a position where they can't continue anymore, not because there's no reason to continue, but they just can't afford it.
Right.
And it happens. You can't predict that. You can disclose and you can warn and you can write it up as many times as you want. And you can only predict as much as you can predict. And in some cases, you just won't be able to have the foresight because things happen. But you have to do your darnest to make sure that on day one, you are as clear as day and you continue to be as clear as day, that this is a service. It may have carrying costs. It may have ongoing expenses, and make sure that your client is clear and capable.
Let's move past the financial part, which is obviously big. What other negatives can come down if you heavily discount your pricing? Maybe, thinking about reputation, thinking about where you had intended to take your practice. Does it derail you? Like, what are some of the other things that can go wrong?
It can definitely derail your reputation. Part of it is really pricing. If you're at the bottom of the market, or let's say relatively to the bottom of the market, people aren't coming to you because they're looking for quality. They're coming to you because they're looking for the best, cheapest price.
Mm-hmm.
So your product and service might be just as good, if not better, than your competitor, but they don't care. And that's hurting your reputation, because they're not coming to see you because you're the best. They're coming to see you because you're the cheapest.
Right.
So if you continue down that same path, you're going to improve, God willing, with time as you gain more experience. But if your pricing doesn't match your experience, you're going to continue to have that same reputation that you're the cheapest, that you're not necessarily the greatest, but most cost effective. And the other side of it is people who are price shopping are not necessarily looking for quality, meaning they're not always going to be the best kind of client.
Mm-hmm. That I agree with.
So you have to be careful with taking just anybody who has a good case
Mm-hmm.
at the cheapest, lowest part of the market. That comes with its own territory. You got to deal with your clients. You have to manage their expectations. And what to you may seem as, let's just say, relatively cheap with respect to the rest of the market is still a lot of money. Where lawyers are expensive, professionals are expensive. It doesn't matter where you're on the spectrum. So your client's expectations are the same as somebody who down the block, let's say, is charging double, doing the exact same service, providing the same type of delivery and product, but their quality of client is different. They're dealing with someone that understands that they're paying more, they're paying a premium, either for experience, better service, better delivery, something that is more than just the bare minimum.
Mm-hmm.
So take that with a grain of salt. You're going to be dealing with a particular type of client.
Right.
And that's for some people okay. For others, maybe not the best place you want to be for the rest of your career.
What is your advice for a lawyer or a firm who wants to raise their prices, but they're hesitant, because they're worried about the risks, they're worried about pushback, they're worried about the conversation. What is a good approach?
Justify your value and know your worth, and understand that there will be growing pains. Justify your value with your experience and your knowledge. Know your worth and understand that not everyone will be your client. That's okay. And understand that in that transitional period where you're maybe going from the lower tier to the middle tier, or from the middle tier to the upper middle tier, you may not board as many clients as you used to, or the same volume of people over time, because you're transitioning. You're now changing your face. Just like, companies rebrand every day. They
Mm-hmm.
change their services, they change their pricing, they raise their prices. And yes, some people will complain and some people will don't ship. But long term, you're changing your position. You're changing your entire corporate model and your structure to the public. And it'll take some time, but you'll thank yourself in the long run. You'll have some times that may be a little bit tight because you're now in an adjustment period. But 6, 12 months from now, you're going to thank yourself because the caliber of client, the quality that you're bringing in, and even the quantity, because you're charging, let's just say, a bit more, you may not have to service as many clients.
Sure.
So you're doing the same work, but the volume has decreased and that pressure has gone down a little bit. Maybe now you have a bit more free time either to expand or just to relax and just take some time off. Either way, you'll thank yourself.
Yeah, I think a lot of times, you think about service and a lot of people, me included, are willing a lot of times to pay a little bit more for services to get good quality and also to get someone is going to actually like pay attention to you. Like, and to your point about like people who are low priced are probably making it up in volume, so they got a ton of cases or a ton of clients, whereas that one that's a little more expensive is probably going to give you just a little more personalized treatment. So when a lawyer is onboarding somebody, is that a good conversation to have? Is it good to talk about why their prices are where they're at, or should you avoid that conversation?
You should be as transparent as possible.
Okay.
And you should explain to your clients what your rates are and why your rates are what they are. You need to set expectations as early as you can and continue to set expectations throughout representation or whatever business you're in. Your clients need to understand what they're paying for. And look, we're in a world where people can price shop in 5 minutes.
Yep.
They can speak to you and four other people. They can go online. They can, certain people may advertise pricing or, they can do their own homework. And that's part of knowing your worth, is explaining to your client why you're not charging what the guy next door or the gal next door is charging that might be a bit cheaper. And the sooner you set your expectations, the better off you'll be. The last thing we want is a client that comes in through the door not clear on what to expect and not clear on what they're buying into and what they're prepared to pay for, especially if you're not being clear from day one. So make sure that if you aren't the cheapest, if you're quality based, that you're always delivering the best products and services, but you're fully transparent why you are not the cheapest and setting expectations from day one on what to expect and what to anticipate. It's always better to under promise and over deliver than over promising and under delivering. The last thing you want is a client that is upset because they either didn't understand what they were paying for or didn't understand the product that they were receiving as a result. Both of them are a problem. You're better off explaining to them from day one that this is expensive if it's going to be expensive. It may be more expensive if it needs to be, and you need to be prepared for that. And you got to put your clients on the spot. Are you prepared for this or no? If you're not, please let us know. And it was nice speaking to you.
Yeah.
That's the best thing you can do for yourself, your practice, your image, long term.
Obviously, some people just want to be the cheapest. I mean, any industry, any service, you name it, some people just want to be the cheapest and get that volume. Are there for the rest of us, for the rest of this, the services out there, are there signs that maybe you need to consider look at your pricing, maybe start increasing your prices?
Well, it depends on what the market can bear, and it depends on your quality of service. If you're delivering bare min, maybe you're not ready to increase your price. Mm-hmm. But if you're stellar across the board, your products, services, your client experience, your reputation are just above and beyond, it's time to make a change. And yes, you'll have some growing pains, but you'll thank yourself. So look inward, look at your structure, look at your output, look at the feedback you're getting from existing clients. I can't stress this enough. Make sure you speak to everyone on the way out and ask them, how did I do? Honest feedback. And if you're getting positive results across the board and your experience warrants it, again, especially if you're in the legal field, because that's one of the markers, maybe it's time to increase your pricing.
All right. Well, thanks for listening to today's episode of Obsessed with Success. Charging what you're worth isn't just about money. It's about respect, positioning, as well as sustainability. For more strategies from Russell and his team, visit morganlegalny.com. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, leave us a review, share Obsessed with Success with someone who needs to hear it. Russell's all over social media at morganlegalny. Check him out wherever he is, and he can definitely set you in the right direction. Russell, always great chatting with you. Thanks for being here.
Likewise, Kevin. Until next time.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and leave us a review in the comments.